Hiya.
I had both headphones in, and that was really unexpected. Honestly, scared me.
Welcome back to the Professionally Hot Podcast.
We're professionally happy with professionally hot things.
We're professionally hot today.
Sometimes we just go down a fucking into a hole that we shouldn't be in.
That's what he said.
As I said it, I was like, "Ew, that's
Yeah,
gross."
You. I kind of feel like today's episode is gonna have extreme levels of this is just a FaceTime conversation.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that you should start off our intro today because I always start it off. So it's your turn.
Welcome back. I'm having a hard time today.
It's okay. It's Friday the 13th, man. It's a day. It's spooky outside.
It's a spooky episode. You know how like people with their shit together, like that make podcasts.
I don't know what that's like at all.
Yeah. Me neither.
What do you
But,
mean?
like,
People have their shit together?
you know, like if you and I had our shit together, we'd be like, okay, so we're gonna be releasing episodes on these days, and one of these days is a holiday, so we should do a themed episode. And we're like, it's Friday the 13th for us, not for you.
Yeah, spooky.
Spooky.
Also, can you look at the picture I just sent you on
Yeah.
WhatsApp? It's how you pronounce sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy. What?
Sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy.
Like, that's not how you pronounce that, but okay.
See, oh my god, can the title of this episode just be Sugar Daddy?
Yes, absolutely.
A rich older man who, see, it's right there in the description. How do these fucking dudes forget the like exact meaning of Sugar Daddy? There's supposed to be rich involved.
I know, it says a rich older man who lavishes gifts on a young woman in return for her company or sexual favors. Where are those guys at? Because I've never had that experience.
Dude, you and me both. Okay, this is a great time for me to say welcome back to the Professionally Hot Fuck.
What?
Professionally Hot.
Oh my god, it's like anytime I try and say forest fairy, it always comes out Ferris Forty. The professionally hot compost?
I think I said cock past.
That too. We're here, we're professional, and we're on a compass.
We're here, we're professional, and that's it today.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Thanks. See you.
See you. Ta-ta, sugar daddy. I'm so sorry that this is what people are listening to right now. I hope that at least they know who we are, so it's like they're not expecting something actually professional because we are not capable of that. So sorry.
I think actually that's probably my favorite part about the Professionally Hot podcast is how unprofessional this podcast is.
Yeah. We're like, let's do this and not make it professional at all.
Like, let's make a podcast. And people are like, oh my gosh, are you guys getting like a fancy studio to shoot in? Nope.
Yeah, no.
Are you gonna have expensive mics to record on? Nope.
No.
Are you gonna hear dogs barking and kids yelling and random shit in the background?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we don't have a script or anything. It's just by the seat of our pants. Is that an expression?
Yeah, it is. Also, we can't have a script because Kenzie can't read.
Yeah, this is really true. I thought I could, and then by 3 hours after me deciding I could, I realized I cannot, and
Can't.
I can't.
Cannot read.
I cannot do it. It's okay.
Excuse me. Actually, that was a cough.
That's staying in too.
Yeah. Cool. So anyway, this is the Professionally Hot podcast, in case you were wondering. My name is Ashley T, and this is my lovely assistant in crime, Kenzie.
We're not equal partners. I actually just help her make this podcast.
Yeah, this is actually like your episode too, so I love that.
I thought you were gonna say co-host, but just came out assistant.
No, assistant. You're my assistant. Yes.
I'm
My
actually
personal,
just
my personal assistant.
I'm her intern and I do not get paid for this.
Unpaid
Sadly.
internship. There's the real reason we became fucking cam girls, dude. Talk about some bullshit. Unpaid internships.
Yeah, fucked up. I don't
That's
understand people get like, why would anyone do that?
Then again, why would anyone choose to sit on cam like completely naked while not getting tipped? We've definitely done that. Can't imagine doing an unpaid internship, she says.
Yeah.
Like
Well, also
completely naked
simultaneously.
on the internet for free.
Yeah. Can't pay my bills, but at least I was here. It's fine. Okay, well, this episode this week, when we eventually
Oh,
get to it,
this is a
is about
banger.
sugar daddies.
Sugar
And
daddy.
I thought we already gave the definition, which is absolutely incorrect. It's actually a man that's infuriating and really annoying who can't dress nice, and sometimes they give you money. I mean,
Sometimes.
sometimes there are good ones out there. I've actually had some decent ones, but they're not here now, which I think is a perfect example of sugar daddies.
Are the decent sugar daddies in the room with us right now?
Absolutely fucking not. If anything, we are the sugar daddies. No, you are a sugar daddy.
Okay, only sometimes.
Yeah, only
But thank you.
sometimes. Yeah.
I think I've been a better sugar daddy to you than many of your actual sugar daddies.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Plus,
to
I
shame.
didn't have to touch you, so that was,
No,
I
you
get to
do it
touch
for
you
you do it because you wanna. That's what they all
because
say
I
though.
wanna.
That's you know what this sounds like. Wait a minute. This sounds like something a sugar daddy would say if he didn't know he was a sugar daddy, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean like, definitely like buy her lots of stuff, but like she touches me because she wants to.
No, 100%. Like she likes me for my personality and because I hang out with her and stuff, not because I'm buying her things and giving her money. It's not realistic. If you're a
Nah,
sugar daddy
not true.
listening to this right now, then just know that you pay the girl more. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, exactly. Or
Give
if
her
it
more
is
things.
you, good job. Continue to pay her more though.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
We have some stories to tell today, but I thought you should say your sugar daddy experience
Oh
first
my
because
god.
it's just so funny.
Okay. I think first of all, I think you know what? Honestly, this whole episode is just gonna be like sugar daddy stories, a cautionary fucking tale. Because
Yeah.
both you and I can attest to this, and you have made like TikToks about this. You've been outspoken about this.
hmm
I don't know if it's so much the case right now as it has been, but at times on the internet, sugar daddies are almost like trendy.
Yeah, I agree.
It comes around in these weird little circles. Like every couple of years, suddenly people kind of start throwing like the term sugar daddy around.
hmm Yeah, it's definitely
And
a trend on TikTok too, where like these girls are talking about their sugar daddies and stuff, and I'm like, it's not a real sugar daddy because you're not
yeah,
being distressed by them.
exactly. And um it's not it it's really not like an easy thing to get into. Like
No.
finding someone who's actually going to like meet all of the criteria and then also like be respectful and not horrendous to spend even a second of your time with. Like, good luck,
Yeah.
you know?
No, that's why I don't do it anymore because I literally don't have the patience for it. Like when I was in my early 20s, it was a lot easier to sit and listen to a man talk about his life and how awful he was as a person and be like, yeah, that's really cool. That's super awesome. I love
Wow, it's
that.
like so great.
Yeah, but now I'm like, you need to shut the fuck up.
Like, I wish you would stop
Yeah, like you're not
completely, like,
it's
right
just not
now.
it's not enough money for it. Like there's never going to be enough to like make me enjoy my time, and that's
Yeah.
fine. I give props to the girls that can. Like seeking arrangements used to be decent enough where you could actually like find people, and I
Oh, God, I
know
know.
one of our friends is on it now, and like she's trying, but I also am like it's a hard site to be on because they're
Mm,
just I think a lot of guys have joined it too the same way that like you'll see guys that are in relationships join dating apps like they're
yeah.
trying to pose as this like sugar daddy, and it's like no, like they're not willing to pay for a first date and they're not willing to like do anything really on their part, and I'm sure they
Yeah.
probably will still ask to split the bill,
Oh,
and
my
it's just
God.
it's not the vibe anymore, or
No,
at
and like,
least
I don't know, maybe you'll. Okay. Okay. This is the. Ken's has like stories because Ken's actually was a proper sugar baby for like a hot minute, and you have
Proper.
had escapades that have been hilarious and terrifying and everything in between.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I actually found out about sugar dating, or as it was called at that point, the sugar bowl,
Mm-hmm.
before I found out about camming.
Oh,
I
really?
think I think that I may have mentioned this in the first episode, but I don't totally remember. I discovered sugar dating. I discovered seeking arrangements because I was on Tumblr. Surprise, surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I was following along. I think her account was just Sugar Baby Nikki
Mm.
or Nikki Sugars or something like that. But I followed a bunch of sugar babies on Tumblr because
Yeah,
they had
same.
these anonymous blogs, right? Like no pictures of them, obviously. Like they were keeping themselves quite private, and they would just talk about their sugar daddies with like the first letter of their name or like a
Mm-hmm.
code name.
Yeah, like a city or
Right.
something.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. They'd call them like I don't know, like Minnesota or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had read about this one chick who claimed to have had a platonic sugar daddy, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!
Yeah.
I would love someone to pay me a lot of money and then not have to have sex with them."
Mm-hmm.
And so like yeah, I was totally disillusioned from the very get-go. I really thought that because I'd heard, you know, that one person had pulled this off supposedly, like, you know, I had no proof.
Yeah, that was gonna work for you
um
too.
yeah, that I was attracted to the idea,
Mm.
obviously, of like money and gifts and stuff, because like I said, I wasn't camming at this point and I
Right.
was fucking broke. um but at the time I was also really interested in the idea of getting to talk to people that were very different than me.
Yeah.
Like I thought it would be really cool to sit down for dinner with like my idea of like this older kind of like gentleman sort of guy who's like rich and maybe like knows stuff that I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I was working in law firms at the time, and a lot of the lawyers were older and way wealthier than me, and I was like it would be cool to like see, like I would go on a date with like one of these people, right?
Yeah.
But I also was like happily with my boyfriend at the time, and like didn't actually want to be like hooking up with people. I just wanted to have conversations with rich people and then get paid at the same time.
Yeah,
And
it's
not
the
surprisingly, it did not work out like at all.
yeah, no, it's the guidance side of things. Like that's what a lot of people's profiles would say. Like I'm looking for, a girl that like wants to like learn about life and like actually have, guidance from an older man who like has been through things. And that was, there's definitely an appeal to that. Like you have, especially as a
Yeah.
rich person, you're like, how did you do that? You know?
Yeah. That's what I wanted to like, fuck yeah, tell me things about the stock market. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
genuinely like, I don't know anything about that. I was also, 21 years old, and,
Right.
I certainly thought dudes were a whole lot cooler at that point in my life. Sorry, dudes.
True.
Yeah, there's more of a fascination with like older men, and now that I'm 32, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. You're
Yeah,
good.
I don't need to hear about that. It's
Yeah.
all good. Didn't you go on a trip with a girl who had a sugar daddy to
Yes.
Japan or something?
Oh yeah, yeah, I did. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, that's fucking crazy back then, dude. Yeah.
That is
Well,
crazy.
through that sugar dating thing, sugar scenario, sugar scenario.
You just eat a bunch of candy.
um, through that, I found a blog of a chick that was also sugaring, and we ended up like kind of becoming friends and messaging back and forth and stuff. And then I started camming, and she was like in Japan, and I was like, I want to come see you, and she was like, yeah, come see me. My sugar daddy's gonna buy you a plane ticket. So somebody else's sugar daddy bought me a plane ticket.
Yeah, which is
And
great.
that's even better, I guess. Which honestly also just kind of means that like she had managed to find an actual sugar daddy, and all
Yeah.
I managed to find was someone who bought me like a $25 lunch and a pair of boots.
Yeah. Which is still really cool, but like the fact that like other girls can be like, "Can you buy my friend a plane ticket, please?" And they just like do it is insane.
Yeah,
Especially to a
exactly.
different country.
Yeah, yeah, yep. But alas, nothing for me. Well, because okay, here's the thing, right? Like, and maybe you were just like way better at this than me, but you're about to tell me all of your secrets because I was on this fucking sugar dating site, and I would get messages, and like people obviously they would message me and be like, yeah, let's go on a date. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd be like, yeah, this is great. I'm going to find a sugar daddy. And then as soon as I had to go on the dates, I would remember that I fucking hate meeting people in real life.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm so bad. I'm terrible at getting to know people. I hate getting to know people. And I'm awful at talking to men in general, like that I don't know.
Well, it involves a lot of small talk too, and you don't like small talk.
I'm so bad at it. I
Yeah.
wish I could do it, but I can't. And the few times I tried, like one time I bailed on a potential date because I said my washing machine exploded at my house and I couldn't come. And he got really mad, so I like blocked him.
Yeah, that's scary. You don't want someone that's like gets mad immediately, even if you
Yeah.
are making up something.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's like,
that's not
sorry,
a
I can't come.
vibe.
My washing machine exploded in my apartment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good excuse. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
most people would be like, okay, that's fine. I told a sugar daddy one time I had to leave because my dog had diarrhea. So, like, we all have our reasons. He's like, oh no. Like, yeah, I
Oh
gotta
no,
go.
you poor thing. Okay,
Also,
leave.
can you give me $1,000, please? Just need that
Well,
real quick.
okay, yeah. Let remember when like okay, maybe this was the same for you, but like when I first started hearing about sugaring or sugar dating or whatever, these girls said, okay, here's how it should go. You should like find someone on Seeking Arrangements, and you don't have to message for very long back and forth because it should be to the point. You should say, I'm looking for someone who is able to give me a monthly allowance and will help me do this, this, and the other thing. And I'm willing to like go on dates and hang out and to fuck or not to fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
And it was kind of expected that like going on an initial date with someone would mean that you were being paid like just to go see if you had a connection with them.
Yes.
Like if you're going to take time out of your day, you should be getting like this much to go on that initial date, and then every date after that is like more cash. Like that's
Right.
what I was explained. That's what it was explained to me back in like 2012.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much how it went for me too. I never went on any dates without like making sure that they could pay for that first date, and I always got like $300 to $500. That was always like my go-to, and if I couldn't do it, then it wasn't worth my time. Like,
yeah,
why would I spend time like going, especially going out with like a stranger? Like you're putting your life at risk regardless of anything, and you deserve to be paid for your time. Like that is kind of the definition of a sex worker, anyways. So,
yeah. So I essentially just volunteered.
how nice of you to volunteer for old rich men.
I didn't mean to at all. I fucked that up real bad. Okay, so my questions to you, because actually, you know what? I was talking about this with my husband in the car. I feel like I have a lot of questions for you because I don't really talk to you about this like era of your life that much. We weren't friends when you were like sugar dating.
Yeah, no,
really.
we were. Yeah, no, it's true. Like we like knew about each other, but like very different times. Because it was like from like I think I started when I was like 19 to like 24, 25-ish kind of area. So like, and it wasn't like I was going on dates like constantly. It was just like I kind of get like to a point where I was like, hey, I need money, and then that was always just like an easy place to make money. Like I knew that I could find someone that was willing to pay for me to just go on a dinner date. And I actually like very rare that I don't really think that I actually like had sex with any, like I think it was probably maybe 3, like because I was actually attracted to them and like wanted to, but besides that, like I never did anything with any sugar daddies. I was always just milking it until I could, and then eventually they disappear, and that was just it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Did you okay, so how did you hear about sugar dating? If you say Tumblr, I'm hanging up.
No, it definitely is Tumblr. Like I was the only, but honestly, before Tumblr, there was a show called Secret Life of a Call Girl, and she was an escort. It's legal in London where the show is based, and I saw that and was like, I just want to do all those things, and it was just like really exciting, and I just thought like that's something I should be doing, and I did, and it was fun for the most part, but like they're not showing, like they have a few scenes where like things are dangerous and she's got to like get out of sticky situations, but they're not giving like a full rundown on how actually like dangerous it can be. And so that was definitely a big shock. But then like Tumblr, tons of sugar babies on there and stuff, and I don't even know, I'm sure Seeking Arrangements came up as like an ad or something, and I was like, well, like, why not,
Yep.
but
Yeah,
like besides
exactly.
that, it was just the internet like being super accessible. And even at that time, like we were going on Omegle and chat roulette, and you had all these like older men that yes were like jacking off but also asking like to like give you money. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't really surprising to go down that path and be like, yeah, it's something I could see myself doing. And
Yeah.
I went on, like, my ex and I had gone on a few sugar dates together, so it was always nice to have like another person there. You didn't feel as like
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable in those moments. And on like ones where I was going to dinner by myself, I would always like, give a location or just have my friend go with me and then like sit, somewhere
Somewhere
else in the
else.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but the ones that I did go alone, it was like I was fine. I didn't ever really feel like in danger. I wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
scared. I was always excited. I knew I was going to get paid, and like, very lucky to never be put into a situation where like it got bad, because I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that have had that, and you would read about them on Tumblr and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people like glamorized it and made it seem like it was like the best thing you could be doing. So it was not really surprising that like a 19-year-old girl would be like, I want to try that.
Yeah. Well, I think especially at the time frame we're talking about as well, we're talking like pre 2014,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
2012, 2013, 24, around that era. Correct
Yeah.
me if I'm wrong, but dating apps weren't a thing. Like
No,
there
not at
weren't
all.
apps, right? Like
No.
I don't think, I just know that like my husband and I started dating before Tinder became a thing, like before
Mm-hmm.
Tinder existed, and that was in 2013. So, no, sorry, 2011.
Yeah, no, it
Um
was like Match.com and shit. You had to use
that
a
was it. Yeah,
computer. Yeah.
exactly,
You
right? So this
couldn't,
whole
yeah.
idea of like, internet dating was definitely kind of like riskier seeming. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't really like meet people on the internet to then go like see in person.
No, our parents
Um,
literally warned us about all that stuff.
yeah,
They
exactly.
were like, don't talk to strangers on the internet. And I was like, what if I do though? Then what?
Yeah. And now it's so funny though, if you think about it, like the things that were like, do not do this are now like that what Tinder just like exists.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like
We're like, actually, but what if you
now
fall
you
in
do
love?
all yeah, now you do all of that, but for free actually.
Yeah. No,
Like
it's true.
nobody's paying you anything.
No. In fact,
Yeah.
you have to pay the app sometimes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, how
They're
the
like, you want
turntables.
it? I was just thinking that. How the turntables have turned. How the tables
Mm.
have become tables.
Oh my god. Oh
Yeah, no,
man.
I do remember going on this one, the same guy that I said that my dog had diarrhea. It was when Game of Thrones was still on TV and there's like a new season coming out, and I had
Mm.
just started watching it and thought I was like up to date, and then I had to sit through like two episodes, and he was like, "Isn't this crazy that this is happening?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's so wild," because I had no idea what was going on because I was
Oh my
a
god.
full season behind. So like there's a lot of like lying that goes into it too. Like you don't want to tell a sugar daddy that you're like struggling with like financially, or like you don't want to give your real name. Like I did use fake names occasionally, and like sometimes I just didn't fucking care. But also like these are also men that had their own secrets. Like there was plenty of guys that were married and sometimes they would just fall off the face of the earth because like probably their wives found out, like, and you
Yeah.
just like that was kind of, honestly, it was really nice when when they just stopped talking to me, because I was like, well, like I got my $1,500 from them, so I don't have to do anything else. But like
Yeah.
also just had like really shitty situations, like not, like I said, not any danger, but just like sugar daddy's getting mad that you're leaving. Like there was one guy that was promising to take me and my ex-girlfriend to Hawaii, and he like had us come out to dinner, and he was like old, he was like 60, and it was just like I don't know, it was very uncomfortable just to like, because I was 21, like you don't, that's
Yeah.
like, what are you going to talk about? There's nothing, you don't have anything in common. And
Mm-hmm.
like, this man is obviously just horny, and you're not, like, you're not going to be like,
Mm.
oh my God, like, you're so hot. And he got mad when we left, and he was like, I thought you guys were coming to see if we were compatible. And I was like, that's exactly what we did. And he's like, no, like, compatible, like, sexual wise. And I'm like, well, we never
No.
talked about that, like, if that's what you wanted off the bat, you should have said that. So like there was a lot of confusion that goes into it, and just like, like you don't want to make someone mad, especially after they've given you money, but also like tough shit, you should have said something. Just
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
sometimes, and you were like, well, never seeing them again. And like honestly, that wasn't a bad thing, because you don't want someone that like gets mad at you for something like that. Like you want someone that's
No.
like understanding and wants you to like take your time, because you're not dating, but at the same time, like they're not asking for STD checks. They're not asking for like the important things that like go into like having sex on a first meeting, you know?
Yeah.
And it was
Yep.
just like, what do you think? Like, I could murder you. I could rob you.
Yeah. I just,
Like,
ugh, yeah, yeah. That's what that's, you know, if you're a man that's thinking of maybe being a sugar daddy, you got, it's not just the girls that got to be careful, man.
yeah.
Fuck it, we could rob you.
No, it's true. Like some of these girls, they do this for a living, and like they are savage as they should be. Like
Yeah.
they're not wasting time to like
Mm-mm.
try and get to know you. Like it's I think there a lot of it's like very delusional, and it can be really fun, but it can also be like, just very draining. Like,
Yeah.
I talked about last time, that girl that goes on those dates all the time, and she's not doing it for sugar daddy reasons, but like it's exhausting to like have to sit and talk to someone and not really know where that's gonna go,
Yep.
like it's just
Absolutely.
it's an awkward space. And like I said, it's one of the reasons I can't do it anymore, because I literally like barely even want to talk to anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
my energy levels are so limited. Although,
Yeah.
you know what I will say, I think before I get to hear you tell some actual like hilarious stories, because oh my
Yeah.
god, Miss Kenzie's got the stupidest fucking stories. Like I'm so excited for the shit. But like I gotta take a pause to actually like thank the OG sugar babies of the internet
Hmm.
for helping me understand my monetary self-worth,
Yeah.
because getting into the idea of like, oh, sinking into being a hot girl. Okay. Like I was
Hmm.
kind of a awkward little teen. Like I was like an emo girl. Like I wasn't like a baddie, you know what I mean? And it wasn't, yeah, like I was cute as hell, but like I wasn't like a fucking grade A hottie. And I became like interested in being a hottie when I hit
Yeah.
like 19, 20. Like that's when I wanted to kind of shake up my own style. And like I like the idea of like the makeup, the hair, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Um, but I was very much like I was a volunteer hot girl, right? I was not professionally hot. It was a volunteer position.
Yeah.
And coming across sugar babies on the internet, the things that they talked about on Tumblr actually helped me set my like countdown prices and my tip menu and stuff for MFC by the time I got there. Because I remember somebody wrote this amazing article that was like, okay, not sure how much you should ask for a first date.
Hmm.
Go to your makeup cupboard, look at every piece of makeup that you own, every single item, look
Yeah.
up the prices, add them all up. And then how much did your last hair appointment cost you? How much do your nails cost you? How much is your gym membership? How much are your
Yeah.
groceries? Like, and she just went down this massive list of everything that goes into looking the way that, she looks. And
Yeah.
she goes, that number, think about how much just like one day is worth, like out of that giant number. And they're like,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
so
minimum
true.
that's called breaking even. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's really smart.
damn, that's true.
Yeah.
Like we're not out here, we don't look like this for free.
Mm-mm.
Right. And no, like if you wear makeup, if you like, dress a certain whatever, like you're not out here looking like that for free, right? There's a cost
No.
associated with being like, especially femme presenting or wearing makeup or, kind of doing the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
um it costs money to do that. And if
Yeah,
somebody
it
wants
does.
you to like, they want to spend time around you or with you because you look a certain way, they kind of should be paying you for
Yeah,
it.
100%. Like, and yeah, I agree. The girls that really laid it out, like, they knew what they were talking about. They obviously were getting money from men, and it
Yep.
was working for them. And, like,
Yeah.
it's like, it's so hard to have like these, like the trend of sugar daddies going around right now, because like there's just so much more to it that like
Yeah.
you need to think about. And like I think like Tumblr gave us a huge space to actually learn about those things, where like
Yeah.
now you kind of have to like you can't like search on TikTok. Like I mean you can, but like it's rare that it'll come up, because TikTok, it doesn't want to be like
Exactly.
showing those things. It's way harder to find information about it. So
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tumblr made it accessible, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the one other thing that Tumblr sugar babies taught me, and I will carry this until the day I die, is that I am not a necessity, I'm a luxury.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
That shit has
ma'am.
guided me through all of sex work, and even in at times like just in life, like, you know, out people will like ask you to lower your prices for videos, or they'd say like, oh, like you know, I want to be able to, for example, like I want to be able to schedule a private show with you, but like I can't afford the like x amount of tokens it is to like start a private show, like could we do it for cheaper? No,
Yeah, no,
absolutely
no.
not. Like you don't need me to breathe, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to die if you don't get to
Yeah.
see me, you know, perform the way you want me to. So
Yeah,
no,
save
absolutely
your
not.
money up. Like, if you're not gonna go into a restaurant and like negotiate the price, so why would you
No,
think that'd be okay here? And like, I'm not comparing us to
exactly.
food, but like, it's a service. Like, you're
Yep.
still being given a service that costs money, and if you can't
Yep.
afford it, time to save up, baby. Like,
Yeah. And it helped me keep my chin up a lot. Just that one sentence like helped me keep my
mm-hmm.
chin up a lot of times, you know, if it would get slow or like I'd start second guessing myself, say like, oh my God, like nobody's really paying for this. Like, have I priced it
Yeah,
too high? Like, am I not really worth it? Nah, right? Like you just keep your standards high, and then,
yeah.
you know, it just kind of, I don't know, that was massively impactful to me. So if you are a sugar baby that was on the website www.tumblr.com between the years of 2010 and 2013, I salute you.
Well, yeah, and like honestly, it's trickled over into my actual dating life. Like, I know what I deserve, and like I always say, like I want a rich husband, and it's not because I'm like I need him to constantly buy me things. It's stability. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know what I deserve. I know that I deserve someone that like is financially stable and like can, take care, like it takes care of themselves first.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not doing that, like why would I give you my time, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
And like that can come off sounding very like vapid and like I don't know. I think a lot of people will be like, well, that's, like you shouldn't just want someone because they're rich. And it's like, no, that's just a part of it. Like, I want to be like attracted to them and stuff too. But like, I have very high standards for myself and that I deserve to have someone that treats me really well and respects me at the same time. And, like it's really difficult to find. So,
Yep.
you should not settle whether it's a sugar daddy or it's an actual partner. Like, don't ever settle for anything less than what you think you deserve. And that can be your own, like you could charge $20 and if that makes you feel good, then do it. But like
Exactly. Yep.
I was like, I want at least 500 or $300 and
Mm-hmm.
that was just to literally go to a restaurant, have them still pay for the meal and me
Mm-hmm.
get, the free meal and have some conversation and then leave. Like maybe
Yep.
we'd make out, but like that was it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
like even then it was like, you're not really paying for this makeout session. Like you paid for my time and that was
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
time to, realize that it's not just a physical connection that you need. And I think like because men are men and they can have like they're just better at having sexual things happen without needing a full connection. It's like you forget you're still talking to a girl. Like I
Yeah.
still need you to like show me that you're a person and like that you're easy to be around. And if that's not there, why would I give you any more of my time?
Yeah.
Which,
Precisely.
yeah, no, not worth it.
No. Not
Um,
whatsoever.
you said you had questions. Feel free to ask
Yeah. Okay.
things.
So, what do you remember what your like first sugar date was like?
Yes, I do. And I will start with what my profile looked like
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I
Please do tell me.
definitely had like, I didn't really have full face pictures, but I always wore either like heels or like something that like looked nice enough. And this was like 2000 and like 12, 13. So like,
Yes.
our styles were very different then.
Yep.
But like
Bandage dresses,
yeah,
baby.
exactly. And like I just, I wasn't like posting pictures of me in sweatpants kind of thing. Like it was,
Mhm.
like I am a classy lady and you should pay for my time kind of vibes.
Yes.
And I always had like heels on in the picture because I was like, well, maybe there'll be a heel person and they'll want to buy me shoes. Like that was like
Hmm.
my alluding to that. And my profile was very like short and sweet. It was just like I, want to go on dates. You do have to pay for my dinner and like my time for going on dates. And I had like a, like 250 to like 500 kind of balance in
Hmm.
there. And it was like I'm looking for something serious, not just like short term. And that wasn't actually true, but like most of the time they weren't looking. A lot of the guys were not looking for something short term either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like just saying that off the bat definitely helped. And I also just like messaged as many guys as I thought were like even an inch hot. Like it didn't have
Yeah,
to be the hottest man in the world, but like if I was like could go to dinner with him and not be disgusted, that was enough.
that was good enough. Yeah.
But yeah, I went to the W in Scottsdale and like wore, I think I was wearing like Jessica Simpson heels when that was like a
I can like
thing.
see them in my mind. I can
Yeah.
see what this would look like.
Yeah. And when I went out, like I think we were texting beforehand, and I remember going into the bar and him texting me being like, pretend like you know me. Like, do not act like we were just meeting the first time. Cause like he was probably like in his like late 30s and I was, 20, like
19.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might have, I think I'm like, I was definitely messaging with a lot of guys and getting money that way when I was like 19, 20. But I think when I
Hmm.
first went on like my official date, I was 21 because we went to a bar. So
Oh
like,
yeah.
I
Okay.
definitely was wanting to drink and stuff, which like definitely helped any sort of nerves anyways.
Yeah.
It was always a one drink rule, like you're not trying to get fucked up,
Yep.
just as a safety
Safety.
precaution. Yeah. And yeah, he like we had good conversations. He was absolutely begging for me to sleep with him by the end of it, and I kept just saying like you're not paying me anymore. Like it's like I'm not I'm, I don't I'm not trying to be a prostitute here. That's not
Yeah.
like my objective. And like I'm pretty sure he had a wife and like he was there on business and stuff. So I was
Oh,
like,
I
no, I'm
see.
not trying to do that. But like it was a fun first sugar date. I think I made like $600 and
Hey.
like we, hung out for a while and stuff. And I think we made out, but like it wasn't anything that was like too much and it was exciting. And I remember getting home and throwing the money around me naked in bed. That was my
Perfect.
go-to.
I've
Yeah.
always wanted to do
It was
that.
great. And it was all like short, like small bills. So like I just was like rolling in it. And then
Oh my
afterwards I was like, that
God.
was really gross because money is so disgusting.
That's really gross. Okay, wait. It's important that we both, because I know that like both you and I are like, we feel the exact same way on
Yeah.
this note. And I think for listeners who might be a little bit less educated about like all of the different realms of whoring, um, it's important to mention that like fuck the hierarchy, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like there is no such thing as like sex work that is like holier than thou versus like other
100%.
kinds,
Yeah.
right?
No.
And I think especially when conversations about like sugar dating come up, there is some underlying elements of like purity classism
Hmm.
here a little, like, oh,
Yeah, there definitely is.
sugar babies are not escorts, right? Sugar babies and escorts aren't prostitutes. Like these
Hmm.
delineations saying that some are better than others because they don't do this or they do that. All that's
Yeah.
bullshit, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no. I mean, even my mindset when I was on that first date, I was like, I'm not a prostitute. Like, and it's like, well,
yeah,
girl, what are you doing out here?
yeah, exactly,
Like,
girl. Like,
you're
come on.
still being paid to like hang out. You think that's a normal thing? Like, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
So yeah, no,
exactly. So like,
there's
no,
no right. Like, you're not doing
no,
better just because you're not sleeping with them. You're still like, you're still doing something that is taboo and
oh
a lot of people
yeah,
will look down on, and that's okay. But like, own
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Don't act like you're better just because you're not working a street corner as opposed to working a hotel. Like,
Exactly,
you're the
right?
same
Like,
ass bitch.
yeah, we're all in this together. Yeah,
We
no.
are whores.
Yes, we support full service in
Yeah.
this house. We do. But
Yeah.
there is simply a difference, at least on paper, of what's
Hmm.
supposed to be a difference between being a sugar baby and being an escort, or are we allowed to say prostitute? I'm actually like
No, honestly,
dead
when I said
ass
it too,
fucking
I
serious
was
about
like,
this.
is this PC? But I mean, like that is like, like it's like the difference between whore and slut. Like a whore gets paid. And like, I think if we're reclaiming words and stuff, prostitute maybe has not like negative connotations, but it's not meant to be negative. It's just like you have escorts that like are with super rich men that, like are going out to dinner and they are sleeping with them and they are like they could be a mistress. Like there are so many things in that
Yeah.
category. And then sugar babies, like you are a young girl that's, with an older man and you're probably not valued as a person. And then you have like, actual like people that are, working to have sex only. And like,
Yeah.
I don't know any other word to describe them. And like, please feel free to write into us and tell us
Yeah,
what the proper
absolutely.
word is.
No,
But like,
absolutely do.
I'm happy to say prostitute because I definitely did that myself on many occasions where I was like sugar babying and was like, oh no, like I don't do that, but like, you know,
Like,
it
no, yeah,
if
I
it
did. Yeah.
quacks like a duck and walks like a duck,
Like a
it's a
duck.
fucking
It's a
duck.
fucking duck.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
and like,
exactly.
you know, maybe I wasn't, you know, working like a street corner, but those are realistic jobs that people still have. Like,
Yep.
it's still a thing, and
Yep.
you know, it's not meant to be an insult. It's just like the actual title, you know, and
Yeah, exactly.
like I said, feel free to tell us if we're totally wrong because
Yeah, no, dude,
I don't know
I
for
would love that.
sure, but that is like,
Yeah.
you know, where my mind goes to. But it does sound like a dirty
Yeah.
word. It does sound
It's,
like
you know
I'm
what?
being
Yeah.
insulting, you know?
Insulting in some way. I mean, I've learned to
Yeah.
say like full service, but then like
Yeah.
in a lot of ways, like you could be offering full service as a stripper or as
Yeah.
a sugar
Exactly.
baby,
Yeah.
Anyway, point is, I at least this is how kind of I gathered at the time, and I'm pretty sure you'd agree with me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like sugar babying. I mean, yeah, the young girl element thing that was like older dude, young girl.
Mm-hmm.
The girl's looking for more of like an actual dating style
Yeah.
relationship. So it's a little bit less like, I mean, I remember it being, this is not a one night stand. This
Right.
is not, I'm meeting you for dinner and sex and you're going to give me $1,000, right? Like that
Yeah.
would be considered more along the lines of escorting.
Mm-hmm.
But with sugar dating, there was supposed to be an ongoing arrangement, seeking
Yeah.
arrangement, right?
Yeah. And like shopping was included kind of thing. Like it wasn't just like here's money left on the nightstand kind of vibe or like here's
Yeah.
like your payment. Like, you know, but like in reality, like if I was, you know, hanging out with a guy for a couple hours and he gave me an envelope full of cash, what else is that? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's no,
Exactly.
you know, the only difference between like women that are full service are they're not doing dinner, maybe, you know, and I
Yeah.
don't even know. I mean, I don't know how much it has changed in the past
Yeah.
few
Me neither.
years where like, you know, you had like like women actually on streets and stuff, like just kind of putting their head in a car and being like, what
What
do
do
you
you want?
want?
Like, what
Yeah,
can I do you for?
and like women that are in bars like we talked about last time where you can kind of like
Mm-hmm.
you know spot someone that's doing something like that or maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
not at all
Mm-hmm.
and they're just you know and like there's also something to be said about women that just kind of like to like be used and paid and they're like well I'm not any of that you know like
Yeah.
it's just kind of I think it's all about like how you actually want to portray yourself and you know but I do agree I think that there's like a lot of different things that can go in and how much it's changed over time is so different from when it was in 2013 it's a lot less taboo and
Yes.
you know it's legal in some places
Yeah. Yeah.
like
True
it's
that.
not you know you can't be a madam and like pimp in London and stuff but you can for sure escort you're not going to get in trouble for it like at
Yeah.
least not the same way you would here at least you know
Yeah. The legality. Oh, and that's the other thing is I think in some ways, sugar babies and sugar dating tried to skirt
mm-hmm.
legality issues.
Yep. Yeah,
And
especially
I
with
think,
taxes and stuff too. You don't if you
yep,
get yeah, a certain amount like it's a gift. It's not
yep,
you're not being
gifts.
paid.
Yeah, you don't have to claim gifts on your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that like at least for, for sugar babies going into it, like that would be that would be pretty good. Imagine making money and it not being taxable. Wow, that'd be fucking crazy.
I can't
Um,
relate.
but then also like picking up escorts, looking for escorts, discussing terms of like a full service meetup or whatever. That's fucking
Mm-hmm.
illegal in a lot of places for men to be looking, for to be
Yeah.
explicitly talking about. So you get into this like fake dating scenario where
Yeah.
the money isn't really like the focal point, right? Oh no, it's just a gift, but like we're dating.
Yeah. Like he bought me a bag that's like over $1,000, but like he's my boyfriend. And it's like,
Yeah,
well
exactly. And the bag full of $1,000 was full of more thousands of dollars,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
But
was
it's a
actually the bag was
gift.
an envelope, and
Yeah. No, it's
yeah,
true. Yeah, and I
yeah,
even think about like me doing the girlfriend experience. Like I went on a couple of like, you know, like we would text and
mhm,
I still offered a service and stuff, but they were still paying me for my time. So like
yeah,
even if I wasn't meeting up in person, I was still being a sugar baby in some way. And like,
yeah,
you know, whether it was like a sexual side or just a friendship side, like it's
yeah,
the, you know, you're still having someone pay for your time and that
yeah,
you're not a lawyer, you're not a doctor, so like
Yeah.
what are you, man?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to do something funny. I'm going to explain the sugar relationship that like I saw on Tumblr to give you
Hmm.
like my idea of like to give the listener, right? You
Yes.
there, listener. This
Hi.
is what I thought that sugar dating would be like, okay?
Yes.
And then I want you, Kenneth, to tell any number of your like, like the girl she or the guy she tells you not to worry about versus like blah blah, blah. Like this is
Yeah.
about to be that, okay?
Okay.
All right, so on Tumblr, I hear of this young woman. She's like 21 or 22. She has student loans. And so
Hmm.
she decides to go on seekingarrangements.com and she puts in a profile, like no face pictures, whatever. And she finds a very wealthy man who, like, he owns several businesses. She wants to open her own business. And so, like, they have this thing to talk about and like they go on a couple dates. He wants to like mentor her and she
Hmm.
wants to keep him company like while he's working long days at his office or whatever. And so they get into this relationship and he like brings her around the world with him and teaches her all about business so that she can open her own business. She ends up with like I think she ends up with 3 total sugar daddies, like kind of all
Hmm.
at the same time. They all have different names, and she ends up paying off all her student loans. She's making like thousands and thousands of dollars a month. She's not paying for anything. Like all
Right.
of these 3 different dudes, they're all paying for her rent, each of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So she's profiting, off of whatever else. And she ended up opening her store and deleting her like Tumblr and stuff because like she'd essentially achieved what she wanted to, and she didn't want to put herself at risk for like sharing any of the stories if they would be connected back to her.
Right.
And she disappeared, and I was like, that is totally what sugar dating is all about. That is normal. That's what happens.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna give you a rundown. Her student loans probably got paid off in the first 3 days because she slept with them.
Yeah, there you go.
And she was having them all pay rents, but probably exhausted from trying to hide each of the sugar daddies from the other ones.
Yep.
Because they can be very jealous and only want you. They like to pretend that they're a white knight that wants to guide you into a world of business, but really they don't want you to make more money than they do. So like
Mm.
very fake minded business advice of like you
That's
should
a
do
good
this,
point.
and like they're already rich, like their advice is not going to work for someone that's like struggling with student loans, you know what I mean? Like
True
you
that.
should have this, you should have this kind of thing, and this will work for you. And it's like, okay, well, I don't even know what that means. And like you're
Mm-hmm.
also much younger, so they get this like sense of superiority, and gets to be this like father figure where they're like, oh, like this poor little girl needs to be saved. And
Mm-hmm.
they get their rocks off because they're definitely, you're like, you can't believe that when they say that they didn't, like, especially if they're in like a long-term relationship with these sugar daddies, that they're not sleeping with them. It's just not
No, they
realistic.
absolutely are.
They you have to at some point. You don't have to, but like that's the whole point. Like they're not
Yeah.
looking to just mentor someone.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like the disappearing thing, she probably did make a lot of money. She probably did, exhaust herself, and that's why she left the internet. And
Yeah.
probably doesn't talk to any of those men anymore. And like remembers it as a thing that she used to do, because like
Yeah.
anyone that's doing it for long term, you're going to be absolutely drained. It's the same thing with scamming. Like you can't,
Yeah. True that.
it can only hold it for so long. But it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
she didn't make a shit ton of money, that she didn't pay off her debt, that she wasn't smart and saved the money that she was making times 3 from 3 different people.
Yeah.
And, like you milk it. You really do act like, oh, poor me, even if you're not
Mm-hmm.
in that place. Like I'm sure that she could have, afforded a lot of things for herself on her own, paychecks. But why would
Mm-hmm.
you want to when you get to use your 21-year-old looks and be that bitch for a while? Like
Yeah.
it's so worth it when you find sugar daddies that actually like are giving you what you need in those moments. Like, especially
Yeah.
if you can stand sleeping with them, if you can stand being in their presence all day, if you are okay with traveling with them and not seeing them all day because they are at work, like,
Yeah. True.
you are still a lady of the night in that way, because
Mm-hmm.
you're waiting on someone else to eventually give you attention. And like
Yeah.
it's not, that's not a relationship, you know, and
No.
it is a transactional relationship, and that's
Yeah.
totally okay, but like I feel like a lot of people that are into it today are not realistic about like what that means. Like they
Hmm.
in some ways do believe that they own you, and
Yeah.
that like you don't get to do anything outside of what their agreements are. I mean, we've all seen 50 Shades of Grey. That was a sugar daddy relationship. Like, sure, she can pretend that she's in love,
Beautiful.
but on a realistic
Yeah.
level, you still
Mm,
have a man that's getting mad at you for going to see your mom, and
yeah.
that is that is
That's a
realistic.
problem.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
it's all very toxic
Yeah.
place to be at. And like I said, it can be so much fun. It's not like I don't regret any of the things that I did or people that I hung out with and stuff, but
Hmm.
like like my stories are wild because it's people being people, you know. It's not
Yep.
just like just because they're sugar daddies they did these crazy things. Like no, they all have unhealed trauma that they
Okay.
never figured out.
Tell me about the most obviously unhealed trauma guy.
Okay. Well, I have three stories today, but I will start with the we'll just call him the New Yorker because this man, I two of my sugar daddy stories that I have, this one and another one, were both given to me by other girls online that were messaging me on Instagram and being like, I know the sugar daddy, he's looking for a new girl. And, you know, like I was obviously openly single online. So like that was, and I was like, it was kind of obvious that I was doing those things.
Hmm.
So they were like, you know, this would be a good match for you. Like you should hit him up and see what happens. So I hit up this one guy, and this was when I was like not dating my exes after we had split up and stuff. So I
Hmm.
was like going on this alone. And he lived in San Diego, and he flew me out and got me a hotel. And he, there was no like beginning red flags, but the first red flag that did show up was when we got to the hotel. He didn't have any of his cards with him, and I didn't have a credit card at the time, so they needed to do the hotel
Oh yeah.
hold, you know.
What the
And
fuck?
I was like, I don't have anything. And he was like, well, I didn't bring my stuff with me. And it was so weird, and I was like,
That's
why
odd.
not? Yeah, I was like, why
Like,
don't
okay,
you?
like you and I being like adults now, like why
Yeah.
the hell would you go anywhere with no wallet?
Yeah, it was so weird. And
That's
so
a
we had
red
to,
flag.
yeah, so we had to go to like a gas station so he could get a bunch of prepaid cards, which didn't end up working because they needed a real credit card. So I had to
Yeah.
call my dad. I had to be like, Dad,
Oh my
can you give
god.
me your credit card? I'll pay you back. And like it was just like, you know, it was like, well, you planned this, dude. Like you should have all these things taken care of, you
That's
know?
so awkward.
It was really awkward. I spent like an hour in the hotel lobby just like trying to figure it out.
That is so
Um
awkward.
yeah, and I went out
Oh my
there
god, so
like
you've never told me this. That is so awkward.
yeah, it was not a good it was not a good vibe. I was like,
No.
okay, I want to go home right now.
Yeah.
And I knew going out there like he was not trying to have sex. Like we had already talked about it. We had talked on the phone
Mm.
beforehand. I didn't know what he looked like, but I did know that like he wasn't like he was very much like, well, you need to get like checked for STDs and like do like an actual like swab test. And he was like, but like we'll meet first, and then we can do that when we get to
Mhm.
that point and stuff. So I was like, okay, fine. Like I don't have to do anything, and I could just go out there and like be paid and hang out in a
Mhm.
hotel room in San Diego for a few days.
Sure.
So I was super chill with that. The hotel thing was definitely a bump in the road, but it wasn't like that big of a deal. So then we like got into the hotel room. I was smoking a lot of weed at the time, so we ended up buying me a rig and some wax, and it was like a pretty expensive one. I will come
Mhm.
back to that because it has its own part of the story. But
Good.
like I was set, like I had a nice hotel room. I wasn't like in some janky ass place. Like it was like a
Mhm.
Hilton or something. Um, so yeah, we hung out for a little bit, and then he this was when it got fucking so weird
Oh
and
no.
awkward. He was like, I'm gonna make a hotel or a restaurant reservation for us to go eat at tonight. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, watch this. And he proceeds to do the worst New York accent I've ever heard on the phone.
Oh
He was like,
no.
hey, I want to make a reservation.
Oh my
And I was
god.
like, I'm just like staring at him like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, are you being dead ass?
Why?
I don't know. I was like, did you go to clown college? Because that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, what am I supposed to say to that? And he just thought he was like brilliant. And that's one of the things about like being with sugar daddies, they're always gonna like have this like false sense of I'm the best person you could ever be with, and like I'm the funniest, and you don't have any other option but to just be like, oh, you're so funny. Like,
See,
that's like...
honestly, I think that's the problem, right? Because to be fair, that's a man thing.
Yeah,
Sorry, men.
yeah,
But like, we love you for it. Well, especially if we're in love with you, we love you for it. We just,
yeah,
sometimes we'll agree that you are the funniest person on the face of the earth, right? But the
yeah,
problem when you give a man a lot of money and then he starts paying other people around him is that you kind of have to like pretend that he is funny,
yeah. No,
right?
100%. You have
Like
to
in any other
ignore.
scenario,
You're ignoring the icks, like you just are.
in any
You
other scenario,
just...
you would have to be like, so weird. Why
Yeah,
did you do that? Like,
yeah,
but like this behavior just gets to kind of continue because you have to be like polite. So like what
yeah.
like did you just I could just see you like did you just stare at him like
Yeah, I did. I was just like, is this gonna
okay.
end, or you... And like, and then you're also like, I'm a poor 23, 24 year old
Yeah.
who like, I don't have the options to like fly home on my own dime or,
No.
change hotels and stuff. So
Yeah.
you just have to be like, you're so great, thumbs
Because
up.
he's silly.
Yeah. Like you're so funny. And it was just very awkward. And I thought that was the end of that accent, but it wasn't, because when we went to dinner, he walked in and started doing the accent again to the girl at the front desk. And you're just standing there like, yep, this is my life. I've chosen. It's like your For You page. Like your For You page is for you, and you have chosen to be
Oh
here.
my god.
So yeah, it
Okay, I'm
was
not
really
gonna
weird.
lie. Like if like okay, the phone call thing, I
Yeah.
can almost like not to like relate to this random ass sugar daddy, but like I can kind of get it. Like even if I was a dude, I'd probably be like, how do I make this less awkward? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and make like a goofy, silly joke. Even if it
Yeah.
like totally didn't land, first of all, I'd crawl out of my skin if it didn't land. But like,
Yeah.
even if I was like, oh haha, maybe she thinks I'm funny, like, okay, cool. That doesn't mean do it again.
Yeah,
Like
no.
at
We don't
all.
have to no, we don't have to do this again. You did it the first time. It was hilarious. Now it's time to stop
Like
and be
never
yourself.
do that like ever
Yeah, I don't
again.
know what was going through his mind, if
Oh,
he thought that like he was like had to keep up this like weird charade or something. But then he didn't do it with the waiter, So it
thank
was
God.
like, what are we
Can you
doing? Like,
imagine
should
that he
I...
just continues it the whole time?
Yeah, I was like, should I do one too? Or like
Fuck.
I don't know, it was so
The New
weird.
Yorker.
Yeah. And like
That was pretty good.
like that was really good.
I'm Canadian, okay? That's pretty good.
But like like those aren't giant red flags. I'll call them like pink flags, where you're just like, that was weird.
It's weird.
Like you didn't have to do that, and you did, so now we're here.
Yeah. It turns out that
But
you can't buy social skills. You can just buy time with other people.
no.
Yeah.
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 100%.
If I could buy social skills, I would be able to small talk.
Yeah.
I would have bought that already.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so when we go to sit down at the table, this was my actual red flag. This motherfucker made me sit on the hard ass chair. I went to go sit in the booth, and he was like, no, you sit here, and made me sit. And we all know, it's a known fact, you let your lady, or a lady in general, sit in the booth. Like that's just how it goes, Like
Okay,
everyone...
Oh my god, you can just edit this out if you want to. You can just edit this out of the fucking podcast. You can if you want to. But like, I can't believe we're saying this right now. You've told me this story, like this part of the story before.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're saying this because I was just watching a YouTube video literally yesterday, where this guy was asking like Japanese girls, like, oh, what are big no-nos in like dating for Japanese women, and this chick like very politely, she was like, yeah, I'd really have to like think about it. Like I'd have to probably say no if he aggressively took the sofa seat. And I was like, sofa seat? And then they start talking about it, and they're like, yeah, like, and I realized they're talking about the booth, and I was like, oh my god, that's so funny. And she said in the video, she was like, oh yeah, because if he can't even give you the sofa seat, what can he do for you in life?
100%. It's so true. Like,
And
I deserve to be comfy. Shut
oh
up.
my god, I started like choking on my fucking air, and like my husband was there, like also, I'm like, do you think that the booth is for the girlies? And he was like, yeah, like never in a million years would I be like, here's the chair. And I never considered it. And that's how you know I've been with a good man for 12 years, because I've never thought about it one time.
Yeah, because you've always had the booth. Like you don't have to even think about it. And like it's one thing if he pulls out the chair for you and then like I don't know, like if the booth has
Sure.
cracks in it, I don't know, there's like other situations where I'm like, sure, I don't want like the the booth leather crack like grabbing my
Mm-hmm.
legs and stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
like I will give moments to that, but like no, he just like kind of shoved me out of the way. He's like, no, I sit here. Like a fucking caveman. I
Oh
was
my
like,
God.
okay, you can sit there then, I guess. Like, you fucking weirdo. Why
That
don't you do your New
sucks.
York accent again?
That
Like,
sucks.
should have been like, no, the booth is for me, honey. I sit in the
The
fucking booth.
I sit in the fucking booth.
Yeah.
That wasn't a New York accent at all.
It's better than
Oh my
his.
God. I can't believe that's so mean.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
rude.
No, it was definitely like, okay, like, and then like we're just like sitting, and I'm pissed also, by the way. Like I'm not
No,
I'm not a happy camper
to
at
the
this point.
listeners, Kenneth would not be polite about this. I mean, you'd be polite, but it would be
Yeah.
very obvious that you were fucking mad.
Yeah, my mad face is not cute. Like
No.
you know when I'm fucking pissed, and I'm
Yeah.
sure I was not portraying myself as a lovely little lady
Your
at
mad
that
face is
point.
cute, but like it's obvious that you're mad.
Yeah, it's like she's fucking
Just
pissed off.
chill.
Yeah, so I'm like trying to let it go and be like, Kenzie, you can't afford to fly yourself home. Like, do not bring this up. And he's like obviously judging me. Like, he's asking me about like, my work and stuff like that. And like,
Mhm.
I'm not really gonna like lie. Like, I don't really care to. But like, you
Mhm.
can see him like, just having moments of like, gross.
Right.
You're like, okay, like whatever, bro. Like, you're the one
Cool.
paying me to be here, but sure
Yeah.
thing. And so this whole time I'm assuming that like he's just a single guy. Nope, this man all of a sudden starts talking about his wife and kids.
Oh,
And I'm like, huh? Like what did you say?
no,
You say you have a
say what?
wife? What?
Huh?
Yeah, it was just he brought it up so casually, like it was just like
Oh,
something that like
that's
everyone knew,
shitty.
and I was like, oh, that's crazy. So he's like telling me his kid's age, and then he tells me that his wife knows that we're out and that she wasn't sleeping with him anymore, and I'm like, wonder why, bro. Like, you're not
Yeah.
making a very good cape. Was it the New York accent? Because that would have done it for me
Might have
too.
been that. I think it was probably the
Yeah.
booth.
Yeah, I think it was your entire persona is just off-putting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, she's like saying that like they're not sleeping together anymore, and then he's like, yeah, so I told her that I was gonna start cheating on her if she didn't sleep with me, and I'm like, well, what an ultimatum. Like, tell
Oh
me more.
boy.
Yeah, so it was that was very awkward to hear, and I like, that's not really, I wasn't ever going after someone that was married. That was not hot to
Mm-mm.
me. It's still not hot to me. I don't think that that's an attractive thing. And
And
like,
so
no.
it's like so dehumanizing to just
Yeah.
assume straight to your face that you'll be fine with anything because you're being
Yeah.
paid.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like what are you talking about, like
Mm-hmm.
like your wife knows that I'm here, and like his wants were that we would eventually like actually start dating, and he would get me like an apartment in San Diego, and I would have to move
Mm.
there, but like give up my entire life to be
Yeah,
his like girlfriend,
nah.
and that's not what I was there for, like, at all.
Mm-mm. Well, he
So
sounds like a
yeah.
gem.
Yes, he was lovely. He was just
Mm-hmm.
darling.
So sweet. Oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah, no. So we had dinner, he left, and I got to like stay in the hotel by myself, which was really nice too.
Yeah, that
Obviously
is
because
cool.
he had a whole family he had to go back home
A
to.
whole ass family to go take
Yeah.
care of.
Yeah. So Saturday night, because I flew in on Friday, Saturday night, I ended up hanging out with a really nice girl that I don't remember her name, but like we went and got sushi together and went to, what was that? There was like a store where you could buy like sex things, but it wasn't considered a sex store. It wasn't fuck, it
Oh, not
was,
like what is it called, like Marshalls or whatever?
yeah, there was some like, I don't know, it was one of those kind of stores where like they sold sex things, but people were like shying away from it. It wasn't, it's not like Fascinations type of shit. It was just
No,
like,
no, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it wasn't even a store that was in Canada. It was like just in the States.
yeah,
Didn't
I
they have
can't.
like a glow in the dark section?
Yeah, they had like tons of like slutty costumes and shit like that, but then at the same time they weren't like, we're not selling sex here, like this isn't.
Yeah, it was
But
like
it was a
Hot Topic, but
vibe.
not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so
Hmm.
like I bought like I actually still have it. It says daddy on it. It's like a giant pink choker.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah, and I was obsessed with that. And
ooh, the fuck
so
out
like
of
it
that. I
was,
drew a picture of you wearing that.
yeah, exactly. So like it was a vibe at the time. Mind you, this is still like 2013, 2014. So
14.
like
Yeah,
we had weird style then, and that's fine.
we were great.
Um but yeah, then Sunday he comes back over to the hotel, and we're just like watching a movie or something, and he's like talking about like how I'm asking, like, we're talking about sex stuff, and I'm asking him like what he likes. I'm just trying to like get an idea of like,
Yeah.
and I wasn't really actually planning on having any sort of relationship with him, but like it would have been very awkwardly silent if I wasn't like, so what do
Yeah.
you like?
Yeah, exactly.
But every single thing that I said, I was like, do you like this? I don't know. I don't remember what I asked, but I'm sure there was things like, do you like, choking? Do you like, doggy style? And he just kept being like, no.
Oh,
No. And I'm like, okay, so you're the most boring motherfucker on the planet, is what you're saying.
straight up vanilla.
Yeah, and that was fine. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, and then he brought his family up again, and
To the
it
hotel?
was kind of, yeah. No, he don't. He was talking about his family,
Oh
not.
my god.
Can you imagine?
Jesse.
Here's my child.
You're like, he brought his family up. I'm like, what?
I would
Okay,
have absolutely jumped out the window if that
okay.
happened.
I'm like, I probably would have heard about this.
So he brought his family up verbally into the
His
conversation.
family came up in conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
And he said something about how like I feel like I remember him saying that it was like his either his daughter's birthday and that he didn't want to go to the party, or that she was sick. I can't remember which one it was, but equally both just as bad.
Oh my
And
god.
he was basically like, I don't want to be there. And I was like, okay, well, you're actually like a giant piece of shit. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Like, wow, that sucks for your daughter.
Wow.
I don't like, what do I even say, So yeah, I had that rig and the wax that he bought me, and I was like, how do I get this home? Because like I really wanted it. It was expensive, and I was like, I don't have enough time to like mail it. But like I became friends with the valet guy at the hotel because I would go outside to smoke cigarettes, and we would just like chat, and he would like ask me questions about like why I was there and stuff, and we eventually like talked about sugar daddy stuff.
Fun.
And yeah, and he was chill. He's probably like my age or whatever, and I brought up the rig and said like, yeah, he bought it for me, but I don't know how to get it home. He was like, I can send it to you. And I was like, oh, sick, person I've never met before. I trust you so much. That motherfucker stole that shit.
Kenzie, duh.
Never. Yeah, I know. Well, at the time I was like, thank you so much for being such a nice human being.
Yeah, no, that shit's gone, dog.
Yeah, no, I was like, I'm gonna report you to your hotel, but then also weed is illegal, so I can't do that. So it was just a very like the trip was a bust, and then I got home, and this motherfucker had the audacity, the sugar daddy had the audacity to text me and say like, well, I'm gonna think about our relationship, and I'll let you know like if I want you to become my girlfriend. And I'm like, I'm blocking you, like you're delusional, and like that is insane for you to even send me that text message. Like, would never, could never. You actually made me like, it wasn't like uncomfortable in the sense that like I felt like I was in danger. It was just uncomfortable. It was like, how could you be this bad of a human being? Like, how do you even have a family? Like, I can't imagine what kind of kids you're raising or like what they think about you, and it's just like so uncomfortable. And like you can't say anything. You can't be like, wow, you're a shitty person. Like there's no space for that.
I feel like this is where that like the reality of sugar dating really headbutts and takes out like the fantasy element of sugar dating, and that like, I mean, holy crap, we could make an entire episode dedicated to consent question when there's like multiple angles on a relationship, a situation, a job, however you want to say it, right? But if you look at the variables, right? Okay, so if he wasn't paying for it, would he be on that date with that girl? No.
No,
right?
he would not.
And if she had enough money to leave, would she? Yes, right? But if she had enough money probably to leave, she probably wouldn't have been there in the first place. And so you get into this bizarre, like, he gets away with saying more than anybody else would let him get away with, probably. Like, he probably thinks he can say shit to a sugar baby that he wouldn't say to a wife, because there's like more, like there's more of an equal footing, right? I don't know. It's just, you
the
think
consent is in a very different place. Like, you don't have, it's not the same. You're not, and I'm not being forced to do anything sexual. I'm not even having sex, but there's still this like underlying tone of like, I don't want to be here, but I don't really have a choice. I already made my way out here. I'm going to make the best of my time. Going to try and milk it as much as I can and leave with the dignity that I have left.
Absolutely.
And hope they never text me again, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean,
that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And like, I mean, I hate to have to like coddle people, but just to be clear, like it is very possible that like amazing sugar daddies are out there, and that there
Mm-hmm.
may be people that Kenneth and I would be like, that was a stand-up guy. He was fantastic. I loved
Yeah.
spending time with him. Unfortunately, we just didn't really find any of those people.
No, the one guy
So
that I did, he had or actually it was like two different guys that were decent. They both had wives, and I never heard from them again. And
oh
it was like not until afterwards that I realized it. But one of the guys was like the top selling essential oil Amazon guys. So like they had money. It wasn't like they were faking it,
yeah,
you know? But
yeah,
there is some sort of like, therapist moment where they're like, I can say anything I want to you because I'm paying you for your time. And it's like, well,
yeah,
you haven't actually paid me yet, dog. And the things you're saying are really, really weird.
yeah. Oh my God,
Yeah. Yeah. Which leads me to my second story,
I
which
love
is
all
the
of these.
silver dollar pancake daddy.
This
And
is
I've
my
told this
favorite one.
story on TikTok and I've told this to friends and stuff, but it's still one of the weirdest experiences and very like not like I said, not dangerous, but definitely leading to that area where like things just like turned out bad. And
Tune in next time because this episode is actually like at this point over 70 minutes long.
yeah,
So Ken's, would you like to come back for a part two?
I absolutely would. I have more things to say about this wonderful subject.
Okay, same. And also, isn't it so funny that we said that we would shoot like we'd record two different podcast episodes today,
Yeah.
and then we gave up on it and then ended up talking for 2 hours anyway?
Yeah, that's pretty much how our FaceTimes go. So you're
Mm-hmm.
welcome, people
Mm-hmm.
listening.
Yes. Kenzie, would you like to shamelessly self-plug on your own podcast?
I would love to plug. Just a little sex joke for you guys.
Ken's, this is a PG-13 Christian Minecraft channel.
Christian Minecraft channel. Are those real things?
Yeah, probably.
Probably. Welcome back to the Christian Minecraft channel. Let's read from the Bible first before we build a village.
Kumbaya. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the fact that you're streaming on Twitch now.
I'm gonna start a Christian Minecraft channel now. Yes, I'm sorry. A professionally hot Christian Minecraft channel. It's really hard to say, actually.
Yeah, it's a mouthful. We'll stick to professionally hot podcast.
It is a mouthful. Okay.
Oh my God! Fucking tell the people where you're at.
I'm in my bedroom right now.
Yes.
My Instagram is kenziebaby.x. My Twitter is fatherfucker with a V instead of a C. And my Twitch, which I just streamed on and I'm going to be streaming on more often, is xkenziebaby. And my OnlyFans is little baby. So find me there. Ashley T, your turn. Plug it up.
I'll plug it up. Can you imagine? Both of us have spent 10 years making literal porn and we're like,
I still can't hear penis without like laughing, so it's okay.
Oh, that's funny every time though. You know what else is funny every time? Me on the internet. You can find me everywhere. Everywhere at Hey Ashley T. And also at Ashley T Cozy. If you want like spicy me, you can find me at Hey Ashley T on OnlyFans, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, literally fucking anywhere. Yeah. And if you're looking for like Twitch stuff, gaming stuff, safe for work stuff, I'm Ashley T Cozy everywhere.
She's very cozy.
That's so cozy.
So cozy. I love that.
Cozy.
Yes.
And yeah, tune in the next time for part 2. Super fun.
Yeah, super duper fun.
Okay,
love you guys. Thanks for listening.